School in 1904. Private academy. From the outside, you might not guess that Samantha's school was a school at all. Miss Crampton's Academy for young ladies looked like a house because that's what it was. A house with 2 or 3 rooms set aside as classrooms. In 1904, many girls from wealthy families like Samantha's studied in private academies that met in the headmistress's house. These schools were usually small. There wasn't room for more than 10 or 12 desks in a classroom the size of your bedroom. Often there were just 3 or 4 girls in each grade, and several grades shared one classroom and one teacher. In most private academies, students were either all girls or all boys. Girls in private academies studied reading, spelling, history, arithmetic, and geography. Penmanship, or handwriting, was an important subject too. Students practiced holding their pens properly and making fancy letters like B's. They were not allowed to turn in messy written work with drips of ink on it. That could be difficult because their pens often leaked. Art class 1904. Some private academies made lunch a lesson too. They served a fancy meal in the dining room and students practiced good table manners. After lunch, many academy students practiced dancing, French, drawing, and even how to walk, talk, sit, and bend gracefully. These were considered important lessons for young ladies. Public school. But in 1904, not every girl in the United States was a young lady who went to a private academy. Private schools were expensive. Many more American girls went to the free public schools in their neighborhoods where they studied most of the same subjects that Samantha did. In public schools, boys and girls went to school together. There were usually 20 or 30 children in each class. Students in the same grade were about the same age. But in the poor neighborhoods of large cities, some children did not go to school at all because they had to work. Students from a city school. Even though there were laws that said children should not work, some poor children disobeyed them so they could earn money to help their families. Some children tried to work during the day and go to school at night, but many times they were too tired and fell asleep at their desks. Child worker in a factory. No matter where they went to school, students were expected to be quiet and obedient in the classroom. Children who worked all day often fell asleep at night in school. In an academy like Miss Crampton's, students who misbehaved might be sent home with a note from the teacher. In a public school, the punishment was usually harsher. Teachers swatted students with paddles or rulers, made them kneel in a corner, and slapped or boxed their ears. Many teachers believed that these punishments taught lessons that were just as important as arithmetic, geography, and history. Reading books were supposed to teach more than reading too. They showed how polite, honest girls and boys always ended up better off than rude, dishonest children. And students like Samantha and Nellie were often asked to write essays or speeches about right and wrong. Sometimes they memorized their speeches and recited them in front of the whole class or the whole school. Going to school in 1904 often meant sitting quietly, memorizing, and reciting, but some teachers believed children learn more by doing things. These teachers taught science by doing experiments. For instance, students in their classes took flowers apart to learn about plants. Exercise was also an important part of the school day. Between classes, students did yawning and stretching exercises at their desks because teachers thought this made them healthier. During noon recess, they played games like baseball. They had lessons in archery and tennis, played basketball, and even learned how to swim. Swimming lessons without water. In 1904, American children were supposed to go to school until they were 16 years old. However, most of the boys and girls who started school never finished 8th grade. Most children went to school for as long as they could and then began working in factories and stores, on farms and in mines. Some students did go on to high school, and a few went to college. But a college education was still an unusual privilege, even for a wealthy girl like Samantha. College graduates. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Love you.